Hi, my name's Jodie Benvenistes. I'm a psychologist, parenting author and the director and founder of Parent Wellbeing. I'm also mum to 2 young children and I've worked with lots and lots of parents, and I wanted to share with you today the 3 things that our kids really need from us. There's 3 really important things that we can give them. But before I do that, I wanted to talk to you about some of the problems that we're facing as parents and how that's getting in the way of us providing these 3 very important things. The first thing I wanted to talk to you about was there's actually no shortage of parenting information. In fact, as parents we face parenting information overload. And a classic example of this is when you think about the topic of baby sleep. So on one hand, you've got experts who are telling you that you should teach your baby to sleep and leave your baby to cry to varying degrees. And then on the other hand, you've got some experts telling you to wear your baby, sleep with your baby and never let them cry. Now, most of these experts are telling you that their approach is what's best for baby. And it can be very difficult as a parent to then work out, well, what should I do when I've got all this conflicting and confusing information? So that's a major problem we're facing as parents these days. The second big problem is that we're feeling scrutinised, we're feeling judged and watched by friends, by family, by strangers in the street even, who want to tell you how to raise your kids. And also by the media. There was a recent example of a celebrity mum who, there was a photo taken of her and she was crossing the street with her baby while she was feeding her. And there was outrage about the fact that she should have been sitting down to feed her baby. She shouldn't have been walking across the street and feeding her on the go. So that's just one example of how we're being scrutinised and watched as parents, and which is getting in the way of us being the parents we really want to be. The next problem is that research shows us that as parents, as a group, parents are not as happy as others in the community. That as a group, particularly parents of young children, we're feeling more stressed and less happy than others in the community. And that's because we've got a big responsibility of raising kids, we've got work responsibilities, wider family responsibilities, and it is getting in the way of us really enjoying the best of family life. The next one is that I think all this information overload, the scrutiny, being watched by others, is it starts to set up this idea that there's actually a right way to raise our kids. And if there's a right way, that means that we could be doing it the wrong way. And I think there's a lot of pressure on us to feel like we should be raising our kids in one particular right way, which puts immense pressure on us. The next problem is just that never-ending to-do list. Parents report being time poor, time pressured, we're rushing around, we're rushing the kids around, and there's just too much to do. We've just got too much on our plate and we're feeling overwhelmed by everything. Now, what I think that all these problems do is that they impact on our confidence as parents. When there's conflicting and confusing information, when there's a sense that we should be doing things the right way, when we feel like we're being watched and judged, we can start to question ourselves and whether we're really setting ourselves up well, our kids up well for life, or whether in fact we're stuffing them up. And no parent wants to feel like we're stuffing our kids up. So we're starting to lose confidence in how we're raising our kids, and we're not confident about making the right decisions for ourselves and our family. Now, I think what would help us gain more confidence and to overcome some of these problems is to really understand what our kids need from us. And research shows that there are 3 really important but quite simple basic things that our kids need from us. The first one is that our kids need love. They need to feel loved. They need to feel warmth and affection from us. They need to be listened to. And that's something that all of us as parents are really good at. So the most fundamental thing that our kids need from us is to feel loved. The next thing is that our kids need boundaries. They need boundaries for safety, and they also need boundaries so we can teach them what's appropriate and what's acceptable. Now, it's our job as parents to set those boundaries, and it's our kids' job to actually push the boundaries, and they're very good at that. So what we need to do is obviously maintain those boundaries, decide what they are, what's important for us in our family, set those boundaries so that our kids can learn what is acceptable and appropriate. And then the third thing that really helps with this is to be consistent. So if we're consistent with setting those boundaries, our kids will feel safe, and they will also learn what's acceptable and appropriate much more quickly. So there's three really important things that kids need from us. They need love, they need boundaries, and they need consistency. And from that, there's actually quite a bit of scope to be the parents that we really want to be and to raise our kids in the way that we would like to. So how do we actually overcome all these problems and raise our kids with love, boundaries and consistency? Now, what I think happens for many, many parents is that we get stuck here. We get stuck in the day-to-day. We get stuck in the day-to-day grind. There is so much to do. We can't get away from all those responsibilities. There's a lot to do to maintain a house and work and family relationships. But what happens is that we get stuck in the day-to-day and it all starts to feel very, very difficult. Now, what actually helps us to manage the day-to-day better is this. It's taking in the bigger picture. It's understanding what's really important to us. What do we value about family life? What kind of kids do we really want to raise? And when we keep that bigger picture in mind, it actually helps us to manage the day-to-day better. And it's something that is very easy to overlook when we're stuck in the day-to-day. So what I've been doing with lots and lots of parents, lots of parents have already tested this for us, is I'm helping parents to develop their own manifesto. Now, what a manifesto is it's a set of statements that you want to live by as a parent. It's about what you value, what's important to you, what kind of kids you want to raise. And it's about taking the time to reflect and work out what those statements are and then to keep them front of mind. So what that does is when you're in the day-to-day, you can keep that big picture in mind, and then you can manage those day-to-day responsibilities so much better. This is what parents who've been working with their manifesto have been finding. It's really been working for them. Then what you need to do is, you probably know yourself that when you're calm, when you're confident, when you're well rested, you can probably manage anything your kids throw at you, any of their behaviours. Much easier to manage when you're calm and confident. But when you're stressed, when you're tired, when you're exhausted, it is much, much harder to manage that poor behaviour. So it's really important for us to be keeping ourselves as happy and well as possible, and to be using some wellbeing practices to do that. What that means is that you can keep yourself in the best state of mind to manage anything your kids throw at you, and to actually live by those manifesto statements, to live up to the kind of parent you really want to be. And what's great about these wellbeing practices is that they're really, really important to teach to your kids. They really set your kids up well for life as well. So what I've done is bring together all these ideas in my new book, The Parent Manifesto. It's a book that helps you to write your statements, to work out what's really important to you, to come up with your own manifesto. It also gives you really practical tools and techniques to manage all those difficult, challenging behaviours your kids throw at you, but to do it in your way, in a way that's going to suit you and your family. And it also teaches you those wellbeing practices so that you can stay in the best possible state of mind to manage all those day-to-day challenges. And again, these are techniques that you can teach to your kids. And what's great about this book is it's not just a book, it's also an online community. We found when we're working with parents that it's great to learn about all these tools and techniques, but it's also fantastic to be in a community of like-minded parents where you can share some of this stuff you're learning and you can learn from others. So with the Parent Manifesto, it's a book, but it's also an online program.